Thank you. Thanks for being here. It's a treat to be here to play for you all. And what an amazing event. I'm going to mainly be improvising, but improvising, incorporating sounds from both birdsong, but also lots of aquatic sounds, lots of cetaceans and fish, among other things. I think I'll just play a piece and then I'll start explaining a bit about what I'm doing. Actually, I'm going to introduce some of the sounds because I think it helps. There it is. So this is the sound of a bittern. This is a curlew. These are all endangered birdsong. This is another curlew. This is a skylark. This is a raven that was recorded by Bernie Krause in Algonquin National Park. This is a cuckoo. This is a nightingale. This is a short-eared owl. Another short-eared owl. A tawny owl. Anyway, just to show you some of the co-collaborators. Thank you. For me, when I think about birdsong, one of the things that helps me understand how to listen to it and how to think about it is this idea of polyphony. And it's certainly when the thing that got me into, I suppose, opened the window or the ears to really thinking about birds was just one time at dawn, just listening to the dawn chorus, and it hit me suddenly of just this wave of just all at once, the density, and also the sense that it just went on for as far as the ear could conceivably hear. There was no end to it. The depth was just astonishing. Kind of like when you stare into a blue sky, it just goes on and on. So for me, one of the things I try and do when I listen to birdsong is try and listen to them all at once, which is hard to do. Humans are certainly the way that acoustic biology has been practiced, or people tend to focus in on one species, or it's like how ecology is just having its moment now, because people realize that you can't just look at one species without realizing they're all connected, whether through fungal networks or just in very delicate webs of coexistence. And it's the same with sound, and I think often it's been overlooked for so long also how acoustic ecology, using sound to understand the health of an ecosystem, can be a really powerful tool, if not more powerful than sight, especially when you're trying to understand the health of a dense forested ecosystem, for example, where you can't see very far in front of you, but you can hear much further. And the health of an ecosystem, a healthy ecosystem has a healthy polyphonic soundscape, where animals will leave room for each other to sing in a rhythmic sense, so they don't sing over the top of each other, but also in a frequency sense. So they'll leave each other frequency bandwidths. So crickets will sing up here, and then birds here, and then all the vocalizations can exist, coexist in this dense polyphonic song. So, hence why I suppose the title of the thing was something to do with polyphony. And I guess for those who were here for the last panel, I just want to play one extraordinary example of. There's this recording of some painted wolves in Zimbabwe that I encountered through watching a David Attenborough show. And they're matriarchal wolves, and they lose their matriarch. And they come together and they elect a new matriarch by singing this polyphonic song, this kind of whooping song. So this is kind of radical, democratic, polyphonic, musical, political process in a community of painted wolves. And may I add, at the end of this song, they'd elected the new leader. So it was we're listening to a voting process. And maybe English politics could learn a lesson from something about this. But another thing I thought was really interesting they were talking about earlier, and that's come up a few times over the course of various of these panels, is the idea of time being something which one of the reasons why a bird might be unintelligible to many human ears is because of the fact that they communicate so much faster than we're used to listening. This is the point that David Rothenberg talked about earlier. And there's this amazing artist in the UK called Marcus Coates who's done this brilliant project around this. And I just wanted to play you an illustration of how that... He basically got different birds and then... In fact, I think David might have been one of the people involved. People learn, he slows down birdsong about 16 times, about 16 to 20 times. And then the human being learns this birdsong at the slower speed. And then he films the human singing this birdsong and then speeds the video and the sound back up so it gets higher and faster. And the human, not only does it sound like that bird, but I've watched David become a bird. The way his head twitches and his breath moves and you start to realize that time is actually one of these things that is maybe the most othering thing between us and certainly birds, and I bet a lot of other animals as well. We just operate on different time zones. So when you start to close those gaps, we can relate or understand each other a lot more. So I'm just going to play you an example of me trying to... I slowed down a skylark, learnt it, and then sped myself back up. And I just want to show you, because it was a revelation when I heard this. So this is the skylark at normal speed. Oh, my computer's having a hard time. I'll play it from here because... Oh. So I picked an extract, a short extract. I slowed it down 16 times. And then I attempted quite badly to imitate it. So this is my interpretation of that. And then I sped that up 16 times. And this is me as Skylark. But it makes the point, I think, that, you know, that, yeah, time is this sometimes impossible hurdle between us and understanding many other living organisms around us. Anyway, I'm going to play some music now, improvised, but using recordings of fish and cetaceans, and I'm just going to introduce some of the sounds that you'll hear. So the drums, recordings of the kick drum is an oyster toadfish. And they make these sounds using their swim bladders. And then the snare drum is a buck-toothed parrotfish, which goes around crunching up coral reef. And these particular sounds were recorded during the American, the American military recorded them during the Cold War. And they armed all their submarine pilots with these sounds, so if they heard anything they couldn't identify, they'd quickly cross-reference it with all these fish sounds. And if it didn't match any of those, then maybe it was a Soviet submarine or something. So these were used in the Cold War to help try and identify the sounds of Soviet submarines. And they've since become released from the Secrecy Act, and someone sent them to me. This is a longhorn sculpin. Sorry. This is a blue whale. It's another longhorn sculpin, but just longer. I've put I have a limited amount of effects that I can do things. So if you hear something freaky like this, that's me, not the fish. And then again, the drums, the buck-toothed parrotfish and the oyster toadfish. This is a humpback whale. And then this is 3 or 4 extracts of a humpback whale song layered on top of each other. So I'll play you the one first. And then I stacked them up from the same whale song, but that's 2, 3, and that's 4. So it's kind of a choir of humpback whales, I suppose. Anyway, that'll do. I'm now going to improvise some music incorporating these sounds, along to the sound of a sperm whale. Thank you. There's a fish ecologist and a group where it's now more than just one. There's a whole kind of burgeoning field of research of coral reef restoration, where this fish ecologist called Steve Simpson, who I first encountered this through, has been playing the sounds of healthy coral reefs to dying coral reefs. And the sound of the healthy reef seems to encourage the fish to come back and live in the reef. And then they start to graze on the algae, and then they bring the reef back into a healthier state, which in turn encourages more fish. So he calls it sonic intervention, I think, or acoustic restoration. That's what he calls it. But it's an incredibly powerful tool. Yet another way that sound can be helpful in the practice and ecology. I'm going to play a song now called Pliocene, which is, I suppose, a song about mass extinction. And it features the sound of the raven that I introduced earlier, as well as on the bass it has a recording of a pig from a farm in London. That's a pig. For some reason it's decided, maybe I won't play that one. It seems to have sped the whole tune up an octave. I'll come back to that one. It wants me to play it twice as fast for some reason. That should sound like this. Anyway, I'll come back to that. Well, I might just improvise something with my mouth now. Thank you. Well, I'm going to play another, I'll improvise another song using the birds, featuring in particular a cuckoo. For some reason it's sped that up twice as well. Hold on, I'm going to have to slow that down. Forgive me, my computer seems to be... There we go. Thank you. So one of the things that felt important to me when making this music with birdsong was that it seems that the birds should in some way be recognized as collaborators in a financial sense as well as in a just sort of honoring them as collaborators. It didn't feel right that I should be getting all the publishing royalties, which traditionally deal with the song ownership, who wrote the song. And so it just feels weird. So so part of the idea with the wake up calls was that 50% of the publishing would be split up and then contributed, depending on who sung the song, i.e. if it's Nightingale or Cuckoo or whoever it is, given to the best, most effective sort of charities working with that ecosystem restoration around that bird, or whether it's bitterns who live in wetlands and stuff like that. Anyway, so that's an ongoing process of trying to figure out how to recognize more than human entities in a legal framework to attribute royalties to. And in fact, there's a campaign about to start with an organization called Earth Percent, which for the first time ever, in a legal sense, you'll be able to say that the Earth was a co-creator on this track. And I mean, it's still just essentially just a charity with a bank account, but calling itself the Earth. But nonetheless, it's a step, it seems, in the right direction to be able to sort of, I guess, honor appropriately a collaborative music making in a more than human way. I'm now just going to improvise using human sounds just for fun. David, I wonder whether you might be up for Give it up for David, everyone. Cool. Well, thank you so much for listening and for having me here, and it's been a real treat to play for you all, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and give it up for David for coming and playing, and this is my last song, and it's called Wriggle. If I can find it.
Hey ho, where did you go? Did you wriggle or roll? Did you giggle or grumble Tum tum, from where did you come? Did you toddle or run? Did you skip, trip or stumble Go down, let's go down, let's go down. Don't you wanna go down and wriggle on? Have a sing along, put some pickles on, and play the mellotron. Go down, let's go down, let's go down. Don't you wanna go down and wriggle on? Down to 21, go and right and wrong, and feed the pelicans. Say that the jump to the bed, the lift to the stairs, which will it be for you? How now, big brown cow, the bow or the bow, the spade or the plow for you? Go down, let's go down, let's go down. Don't you wanna go down and wriggle on? Have a sing along, put some pickles on, and play the mellotron. Go down, let's go down, let's go down. Don't you wanna go down and wriggle on? Down to 21, go and right and wrong, and feed the pelicans. Where will we go when the bell tolls for me? Both you and I know when it tolls, well it tolls for thee. But where will we go when the bell tolls for me? You and I know when it tolls, well it tolls for thee. Go down, let's go down, let's go down. Don't you wanna go down and wriggle on? Have a sing along, put some pickles on, play the mellotron. Go down, let's go down, let's go down. Don't you wanna go down and wriggle on? Count to 21. Go on right and wrong, and feed the pelicans.
Thank you so much. Thanks for listening.